What is up, Cowboys Nation? Mike Tag here. Of course, I got my man Greg, our Sunday morning, try and get you guys, I don't know, hopeful. Maybe we'll work through this pain to get through the game. But listen, before we get rolling, again, thank everyone for jumping into Chad, Steve, Vince, Jeff, Rick here early, bright and early, getting this thing rolling. We definitely appreciate it. I know more of you guys will be coming in, but make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit the share. Appreciate all the new subscribers. As I always say, if you guys are new to the channel, let us know in the chat. Also, we've got a lot of great interviews that we've done in the off season. We'll be doing some more. And there you can kind of remember that the Cowboys once were a very dominant franchise and we're truly America's team. Now we seem to be America's dysfunctional team. I don't know, but we're going to get into it. But we'll get into some college because that's a bright spot for my man Greg and I. At least our Canes are looking good. We got that 10th win and one game away from finally getting to the ACC title and hopefully winning a championship. So we're going to hang out. Definitely appreciate it. Greg, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. I had the vent last night, get some stuff off my chest about the Cowboys. I felt good, got me a good night's rest, got up this morning. Computer started messing up on me. I guess it didn't like what I did last night. And but I'm feeling good. What's up, Cuts? What's up, Bob? What's up, Steve? Ultra Jeff, all y'all, Steve, Vince.
Yeah. No, and those of you guys see it. I tried to get it. I couldn't get it to work. I wanted to have on the intro, but we just didn't get it done. But you did your promo. You know, now it's the trifecta. Now I did the bag about 4 years ago. If anyone remembers, I did the bag over the head. I forgot who we were playing, but it was like during, I think, the COVID year when Dak was out for the season. It was just it was bad. But that team wasn't, you know, they fought and they tried. I mean, and you know, things happen. But this year's team has been a little bit, you know, heartbreaking just because you see a lot of, I don't know, just bad optics. Bad optics is what I'd call it. I don't know if you can hear this, Greg. I was going to play it if it works, and you guys in the chat. Let me know if you can hear this. Give me a thumbs up, Greg.
All right. That's why y'all Cowboys suck. Because two of your best players, this is what they're doing. That shows you how much the game of football means to them.
This is Shannon Sharpe.
That's what he told me everything I need to know. Yeah. All I got to do, I see better than I hear. Now, I heard what CD said. Trayvon doesn't do a whole lot of talking. I hear what Michael said. But my grandpa used to always tell my brother now, he said, I see better than I hear. I heard what I heard what y'all told me, but I know I see that trash still in the corner when I told y'all to take it out. Everybody talks about winning, but do you take the steps in order to win?
Yeah, I heard that.
It's partying. You got your ass kicked. I would have left the stadium with a bag over my head. Ain't no way y'all seeing me leave the stadium. After I got beat like that, after I've gotten beat like that every game, 47-9, 37.
So that was bad. It's 4 minutes long. You can go back and watch it. But Shannon Sharpe was basically calling out the Cowboys, particularly Diggs and CD. They did a music video after, you know, the game last week, which I get people have the lives outside of their jobs and this and that. I mean, you just can't sit and sulk forever. But we talk about optics, and sometimes the optics mean a lot. And, you know, I was at the game. It was obviously, you know, it was a Monday night game. It was disappointing. I don't think a lot of us thought we'd win. The Cowboys fought a little bit, you know, until they had that strip sack fumble, then fumble again. That pretty much sealed their fate. But, you know, what do you think? Like, are you an optics person? Did that rub you the wrong way when you're seeing that and seeing that posted? Or is it, you know, these guys got lives, you know, they got to do what they got to do?
No, it did rub me wrong. And I saw it. I actually saw it when Shannon came on and said that. And I sat there and felt it. I felt as if I was sitting next to him and I wanted to say, yeah, every time he said something. You know, first I understand these are young kids. They're young, they're immature. All they know is they've been thrust into this lifestyle with all this money, all these women, all this fame. So they're going to go out there. They're young. I don't care how much you teach them before they go in these NFL classes. I don't care what the parents teach them. Once they get that money, once they get that fame, and they're young, the immaturity that they are settles in, and they get out there and start balling. The problem is they're doing it on the stage of the biggest, most visible franchise in the history of the NFL at our worst opportunity. And I'm sure somewhere along the way, some of these mature players have told them in the past, before they even got out on the field, look, don't go out there doing this. Don't show your face on these days. Be careful what you say when you're out there. People are watching, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't care, especially for CD. He's paid. CD's paid. So, in being immature as CD is, getting all that money, knowing he's paid, you know what he's thinking? I got my money. I don't care what they think. I'm just going to go out and do what I want to do. And Trayvon, after I saw how Trayvon talked to that reporter, something told me right then, this dude isn't as mature as I thought he was by looking at him. He sound, you can hear the immaturity coming out of him. So it doesn't surprise me that those two were out there doing that. I bet they got the message. I bet they heard Shannon Sharpe. And I bet the first thing they said, Mike, was, oh, man, oh, dude, shut up. Oh, man, we going to do what we want to do. That's what they say behind closed doors. But when they have public relations, they're going to come out and probably say something else. And it's
and I think they, you know, and our fans, we give the Cowboys a lot of grief for their bad optics, like, you know, posting some of the things they do on social media after we get annihilated. You know, you probably don't need to do that. You know, you probably want to wait, like, you know, thank the fans, how many came out. You know, I was at the Houston game. It definitely was a road game. It definitely, there were some empty seats and this and that. So, I mean, I wouldn't be posting about that kind of stuff right now. I'd probably give it a few days. So we give the Cowboys group, this is bad optics. And this is what this is kind of what I was talking about on Thursday or Wednesday, whenever we had our show. I can't remember, time flies. It's all about perception, and you need to bring someone in. If Jerry's not going to do it, and he goes on about Jerry too, and it does start at top. We always talk about it. But if you're going to bring in a coach, that's why I'm kind of like, I was against Belichick, but I'm getting more and more towards Belichick because he might be the only one, because he's got 8 rings, right? He's got 6 with New England. He's got 2 with the Giants. He can bring the hammer and credibility and respect. And the first thing I would do after all of this is I'd trade one of the 4 guys. You figure out which one you want it to be. More than likely it'd be Diggs. And it's nothing against Diggs. I love Diggs, but a message has to be sent to these guys that, you know, football is priority. All the other stuff, you know, the brands and everything, you're going to create a brand if you win a Super Bowl championship in Dallas. I promise you that. I've said it over and over. You've got Kenny Gant, you've got Tolbert, you've got Novacek, you've got all these guys that are still making money off of that Super Bowl damn near almost 30 years ago, right? All those Super Bowls. So your brand will be fine. Focus on football, focus on winning the championship. That's what matters to me. It matters to the fans. I'm not big on all this other stuff, but I know it's a different time, and these guys do have lives. I mean, the 90s Cowboys, let's just make it, you know, let's be honest, they weren't choir boys. They all had shows. They had the White House. They had all this and that. You didn't have social media that brought it out. But what I would say is, if you looked at that team, and we've interviewed enough of the guys from that era, they were harder on themselves than the coaches were on them. They held each other accountable. There was, you know, there was none of this nonsense that you kind of see within the media, and you see, you know, that they're doing. I think that was kind of the difference. They kept a lot of it in-house, but they held each other accountable. I just don't see that with this team.
No, and remember back then too, Mike, they were winning.
Yeah.
They were winning. I mean, they partied hard. I remember the White House and everything. They partied hard, but they were winning. And when they came to the field, they meant business. Yeah. They didn't. Some of them might have had a hangover, but while they were out there playing, the rest of the players made sure. You might have been hanging out with the Owls late at night, but you're going to fight with the Eagles this morning, and you're going to get your butt out there, and you're going to play. And that's what they did. They played hard. This team just quit. They just automatically quit. And the more and more I think about it, the more and more what you're saying about Belichick seems to sink in. Every now and then I use a military reference because it's applicable. When you have a leader in an organization, and I've seen this plenty of times, you military guys, you know what I'm talking about. And all of a sudden, this is supposed to be the leader that everybody follows, but you know that the leader has lost his way. And you get this, what we call fresh expertise comes in. That's a term. Fresh expertise comes in. What is the first fresh expertise? What's the first thing they do? They get that person, the most highlighted person. Bam, you're demoted. it shakes the entire organization up. It makes them strap their boots up. It makes them get together and say, look, this dude ain't playing. He just demoted so-and-so. I'm getting my act together. Everybody falls in line. And all of a sudden, the structure comes right back together. The discipline comes back together. The commitment comes back. Yes, it even happens in the military. That's exactly what's going on now. Every time you reference Belichick, remember I was telling you, I said, I ain't sure if we need a Belichick. Mike, I'm absolutely 100% sure now, convinced that's exactly what we need. We need one hell of a disciplinarian, one that comes in, doesn't have to say much, one that comes in, his actions are out of here, out of here. And then look at the rest of them. You either want to play here or you're out. I'll get people that can play. Because Belichick's known for going out getting players who most teams thought was washed up or didn't or wasn't up to par anymore, bringing them into his organization, bringing the best out of them. And he's got the Super Bowls to prove it.
Yeah. So and I would say to Jeff, you know, you need Jerry to hit rock bottom. He did it before. I mean, obviously with Jimmy was early on, but Bill Parcells was after that. Bill Parcells had control. Bill Parcells brought his guys in. Bill Parcells had say. So that's what would happen to this Cowboys team is they have to hit rock bottom. 3-5-11 seasons. You know, Jerry could use the injury, bug and this and that as an excuse. I don't. This is a bigger problem when you look within this locker room. I think we'd all say if all were healthy, they probably make the play. Maybe they probably make the playoffs, but there's definitely dysfunction in this team. And Bill Parcells, don't forget. I mean, he was aging, but Emmitt Smith gone. Larry Allen rode his ass. I mean, that's what he does. And I'm in business, and I can tell you, when new companies come in and new people come in, they look for the guy. They get rid of somebody. They get rid of someone people like. They get rid of someone who's important. They get someone to make sure that everyone else knows there's a new sheriff in town. We're doing things my way, and the way that you guys did it, it ain't happening no more. So that's where I'm saying is you have to have that. It's still a mentality and the same thing that you talked about, Greg. And there's been talk on the Cowboys in the draft, and we've talked about it. I've seen it in the chat. I definitely would have no issues, and I would be on board with it. If the Cowboys get an opportunity and they're in the top 5 and they can get what they believe is a franchise quarterback in that top 5, you draft them. You never pass up a franchise quarterback. The Cowboys haven't taken a first-round quarterback since '89 with Troy Aikman. You can throw Steve Walsh in there if you want to throw the supplemental draft in there, but it's been a long time, and the Cowboys aren't going to get up there often. They've been a good team. People forget, 20 years, 3 losing seasons within 20 years. This team doesn't pick in the top 10 very often. This will be the 4th in 20 years. So this will be the 4th in 20 years. More than likely, I don't think they're going to have a winning season this year. So you have an opportunity, and they need to make the most of it. This draft is going to be very critical, but more importantly, you can't bank on the draft totally. They've got to be active in free agents and bring in veteran. Doesn't have to be high-priced guys, but they need to bring attitude, championship mentality, bring in those kind of dogs. That's what they've got to do if they want to get to the next level. They can't live and die by this draft every single year. It just doesn't work.
Right. And the thing about Jerry is, and I'm talking about Bill Parcells real quick. Bill Parcells used to ride Romo's ass. And he used to ride his ass to get him together. So Bill didn't play. But see, bringing in Belichick, I bet you Belichick sits down with Jerry and say, listen, Jerry, you have to allow me to bring somebody in. If you don't want to tag him as GM because you want to wear all the damn hats officially, then let me bring him in as my assistant coach /
I don't want Bill being a GM. I'll be straight with
No. I said Bill would tell Jerry, let me bring somebody in that I need as what I would call a typical GM. But since you want to keep that label, Jerry, then let me bring him in and give him another title. But what that guy's job will be, he will act in the part of like Lynch does. And he will be that person in there to help find those players that he wants, like he did in New England, and have at least that one person, part of his organization, immediately tied to Belichick's hip. So Belichick can say, look, this is who I need. go out there and get this person. Let's talk to this person. What do you think we need to do? And then they both go to Jerry and say, Jerry, do it. Because otherwise, if it's just Belichick straight to Jerry, Jerry's going to sit there and stifle every now and then when Belichick.
I don't know. Like what I would say is this is going to sound crazy. Talent hasn't been the problem with this team. Like, I don't have an issue with our draft. Mm-hmm. I have an issue with some of the decisions that Jerry makes as far as outside of football and not signing guys sooner or dragging things out and not signing free agents. But like the draft process has been good. What Jerry needs to do is Jerry needs to just back off the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back off the post-game interviews, all the radio shows telling all this. He needs to focus, like everything needs to be focused back to football. It's what I said with like the Chiefs or even the Patriots. I know the owners because they're holding up Super Bowl Lombardis, but you really don't. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you the GM for the Chiefs. I couldn't tell you the GM. I know the GM for the is he a GM or is he just the president? Like I know John Lynch because John Lynch, Hall of Fame player, he's from my area. He lived, Tampa.
That's basically the only one I know out there. That's why I
you don't know. Like most of these guys, you don't know who they are. Right. You know what I mean? And Jerry needs to. I know he won't, and I know I'm praying. He needs to just back off just a little bit and just focus on football. Like let football drive everything. Don't let all the bullshit drive everything. But that's what happens with this team. And it's just all distraction. It's all distraction with everything. And the players need to understand there's nothing wrong with having a podcast. I mean, every damn player on every team has a podcast. But you need to understand your podcast, if you're a Dallas Cowboy, is going to be on all the news.
Yeah.
Because the news just can't get enough of the Cowboys. So be careful what you say. Guard yourself a little bit. Don't make comments that are going to get clipped and dissected and quoted and twisted around and all that. It's just I hate distraction. Yeah. That's my problem. I hate distraction. And then people say, how are you a Cowboys fan? That's why they live in distraction. But it is just so frustrating.
But see, with Belichick, when I'm talking about with Belichick having that person on his hip, not the talent not saying that we don't have the talent. Belichick knows how to get those plug-and-play players during the season. And that person on his hip would be like the GM typically would do when they help that coach go get those plug-and-play. And Jerry wouldn't allow Belichick to bring in a GM. So if I'm him, I say, well, look, you want to wear all the hats and you want to be GM and everything else. Let me have this guy right here. His role is similar to what a GM does because when I was at New England, this is how I utilize that guy to go get plug-and-play players during the season to enhance what we need to help us. And and Jerry, I don't care what you want to call him. You want to call him assistant mop man. Just let me have him. And if he allows him that's one good step. But here's one of the biggest problems. The podcast and everything else, it is what it is. That's the times we live in. These guys want to make money. They're young. They want to get out there and talk and speak. That's fine. Somebody got to teach them how to make sure that what they say and be careful. But here's the problem, Mike. Back when we had the White House, and a lot of you Cowboys fans don't understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go deep and talk about it. And back during all those eras, those guys may have done things that were highly publicized. But here's the issue. No matter what their nightlife was, their extracurricular, when they got between the white lines, they played damn ball. These guys, if they have their podcast, they go to clubs or whatever, they're young. They're going to say some things sometimes that they shouldn't. But if they get between them white lines and show out and play ball, a lot of that is missed because today we got a 15-minute news cycle. It's so much stuff going on with media that you hear something and everybody jumps on it 15 minutes later, they're into something else and they forget it. Yeah. And that would easily be missed. But the problem is, you compound that because nobody talked about their podcast and all that until we started losing consistently.
Yeah.
You compound that with the fact that we're losing. What's the first thing people do? They armchair quarterback and go look at everything outside of the game that you're doing to use that as fodder to say, this is why you're losing. Oh, when you walked up the steps last time, you went up backwards. Now you're going start forward. From the silliest things to the most obvious podcast. You have to get between them white lines and play your ass off, and people will automatically forget that in 15 minutes. But they're not doing that. They're failing both sides. They're talking too much. They don't have mature players like we had back then. You mentioned it. These mature players pulled these other guys, Michael Irvin, all them to the side. Son, what you're doing is wrong, but I'm going to tell you something. When you get between these white lines today, you better show your ass. We don't have that.
No.
You name a mature player.
No leadership. There's no leadership.
Tank is one, but Tank can't be the father to all of them.
No.
Zach Martin and these guys, Zach Martin and them aren't the type, they don't have that type of demeanor to go out there and talk to these guys like that and get them to respond. So it's a whole different era, generation, maturity, immaturity, and we need somebody in there like a Belichick. But Jerry Jones needs to allow him to bring in his staff, who he wants. So when he says this is a plug-and-play player I need, then he'll get him. Because I think the first 2 weeks, he'll set the discipline. He'll set the culture. And after that, some will want to walk out the door and call the agents, and some will have no choice.
Yeah, no, I think they definitely, you need whatever happens. And like I said, I've said it a million times. I'll say it 1,000,001. I don't blame McCarthy. I don't blame McCarthy one bit for this. It is, it's unfortunate the position he's been put in. I'm sure he's going to be happy to get the hell out of here. It is just a very, very toxic organization right now. And it's unfortunate because you've got a lot of great loyal fans. You got a lot of passionate fans that support this team, through thick and thin. And, and the thing I would say about the quarterback, I hear all the comments, and I don't know if it was Jeff or Chris. Look, is a guy worth $60 million? There ain't one damn person in this world worth $60 million. But bottom line is the owners pay these guys a salary. Dak Prescott in about 2 years is going to be not the highest paid. Shit, in 4 months he's not going to be the highest paid. You have Trevor Lawrence making 55 plus. You got Jordan Love making 55 plus. You got Jalen Hurts making 55 plus. You got all these guys in the 50s and into the 60s. That's what it is. Tua makes that. That's what it is. So you guys save your breath on is a guy worth it or this and that, because the next quarterback you get in, that's what he's going to make. That's what they make. It is what it is. We can't change it. Do I think a receiver's worth $35 million? No. But the owners are paying it. We're not paying it. The owners are paying these salaries. They could control it themselves if they wanted to, but they don't. So am I worth what I make at work? I think I am. Maybe some people don't think I am. Whatever it is. But who gives a shit? I don't know why people get – I don't understand why people get so infatuated with what people make. Other people make. It has no bearing on anything. And he's getting paid what the market value is. That's what it is. Get over it. Keep talking about it. Ain't going to do any good. Is Daniel Jones worth the money that he was worth? I guess not. They cut him. So they could cut him if they want, eat the money and do whatever they want. But I don't understand why people worry about what other people make. They don't talk about it in base. You got baseball players that are, $800 million. I don't ever hear it in baseball. I don't hear it in basketball, maybe because I don't follow them as closely. But I've never understood people that worry about what Jerry Jones is making. Putting that product on the field, $7 billion he's making. Worry about that. Is he overpaid? You know what I mean? It's like,
but you know what it is, Mike, it's just that, like I said earlier, nobody cares until the ship starts to sink. And then everybody goes back and looks in your closet to see why that ship is sinking. And they got to hang it on something. Oh, it's because he getting paid all this money and he don't deserve it. First of all, it's a market-driven situation. In the NFL and any pro sports period, because of social media, the more money that owners are making through other avenues now, the more revenue that's coming in, the bigger stadiums, the bigger audiences. Now the players can get paid more. The players are demanding more. The agents are demanding more. Players that step up. Now, once the market is set with one, it's automatically set for the next one. We can say it's too high, it's too low. It is what it is, folks. It's not about
I got no control over it.
It's not about it getting paid too much. And nobody gives a damn what Dak is getting paid if right now we were like 9-0. Wouldn't say a damn thing about it with none of the players. But once you start losing, that's when everybody say it. And his pay isn't relevant. I know you're not going to like this, folks. His pay is not relevant to his play. Those situations are separate. That pay is negotiated outside of his playing on the field, although people look at that to set the market. And that's how he sells himself through his agent to get the money. Doesn't mean he's going to produce what you think 6 million, 20 million, 120 million means. Hell, to me, $1 million. I don't care if he's just getting $1 million. Play your ass off. Look at Purdy. Purdy was getting dimes, and he's playing his ass off because it's not about that. It's what the market is set. And you watch Purdy when his contract is up. He's going to get paid because it's the market. So forget about that.
I just never – like, I'm a fan of the Cowboys. I like Dak. If they traded Dak tomorrow, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care. I'm a fan of the team. I mean, do I want Dak? As long as Dak has a star in his helmet, I'm always going to support Dak, just like I would CD, just like I would Diggs, Parsons, any player in the team. When they leave, bye.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I mean, that's just me as a fan. That's the kind of fan. I'm not a fan of players. I'm a fan of the team. I mean, Emmitt Smith was my favorite player all the time. When he went to the Cardinals, I tell the story all the time. I still remember it vividly when he went to Texas Stadium for his return. I wanted them to shut his ass down, and Roy Williams came up and busted his shoulder. I think it was like the first or second play. I think he had like -1 yard, -1 yard, whatever it was. And I'm not going to say I was happy. I don't want to ever see him get someone hurt, but I felt good that he didn't get the best of us. Like I never want the guy on the other side that used to be a Cowboy to get the best of us. You know what I'm saying? That's always, that's just the way I am. Speaking of, let's get into a little bit of the Cowboys Commanders. The Commanders, obviously, they have our former defensive coordinator. You've got a lot of former Dallas Cowboy defensive guys that we let go over there. I saw a lot of bold predictions, hot takes, this and that. They're going to have 10 sacks. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be embarrassing. I would just say this. Now, you guys can call me crazy. I bet $50 on the Cowboys to win outright. Now, why did you do that, Mike? You must be drunk. Were you out last night drinking? It's all about return on investment.
That's right.
You know, I can spend $50 at the casino. I could drop $50 at a Walmart on nothing. This $50 could turn into $270 if they win.
If they win,
it's a return on investment, right? It is what it is. I'm trying to recoup.
Feel good.
My season tickets are, I'm taking a killing on my season tickets, so I gotta make up the money somehow. So the thing I would say about the Commanders, their defense not very good. Their defense is their average yard rush per carry is worse than the Cowboys. At least it was last week. I don't know if it changed, but they got run all over last week, so I'm probably the same. Their pass defense, quarterback rating against, was worse than Dallas's. So I'm just saying their defense is in the league of Dallas. So I know Quinn is winning, and everyone's like, "Oh, Quinn's a winner." Their defense still stinks. I mean, they stink. Now, what they've got is a young quarterback who's been playing well, but now the last few weeks, maybe some tape, he's playing better teams, of course. Maybe we're the cure of this Sunday. Hasn't played very well. They do have McLaurin. They do have, Robinson. They've got some nice weapons in there. So I just say that's kind of, where they're at. What do you say on Commanders? Now they're the favorite, 10-point favorite, 10-point favorite. So what do you say?
I'm concerned about where our players' heads are at because Trayvon Diggs is out. Zach Martin is out. And I kind of feel like this is the last year we'll see Zach, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame. He need to be.
1 second. Hey, Carl, if you want to bet 20, but if Dallas wins, I win 150 because that's how it works. I have no problem with it. Put your $20, send $150 to Cuts as a middleman, and I'll send my $20. And if you win, you can get my $20. He's a man of integrity. I've done it before. So if you want to do that bet, that's the bet I did. Like I said, as long as we match the same bet, I got no problem with it. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I'm concerned where their mindset is at because what I'm noticing in the last couple of games, they start off and then they quit. They start off like they want to win and then they quit. And if now that Trayvon Diggs is out, we heard about Bland coming back, and now that Zach Martin is out, I'm wondering if the rest of the immature players on the team, I'm wondering if they're going to go out there and quit. Now, every little thing is a factor, okay? Weather. It's a little colder in D.C. This will probably be their first cold game this season. Now, that can affect the Commanders' quarterback because he got rib issues. But it's a little colder. Now, we're in a hostile environment. Dan Quinn wants this game worse than he wants any game.
He wants it bad.
Than schedule. The players that used to play with Dallas that are over there, they want this. The two assistant coaches over there, they want this. So the Commanders, you can't juice their head up anymore without busting the bubble.
But shouldn't the Cowboys have that same feeling? Their defense say, I want to beat, I want to win too? Shouldn't they?
They should, Mike. They
but I don't know.
And typically, maybe the year before, even back in the day, this game, no matter what their season was, this would be the game that they played their ass off of. But right now, my biggest concern about our boys is this. Where is this? And are they ready with this? Because if we see right away what we've been seeing the last few weeks, it's because they've quit. And they have no heart to step up within themselves and say, damn it, I'm going to be the one that's going to show everybody. Now, one person I know that's not going to quit. That's Micah Parsons. Yeah. Micah Parsons not going to quit. And some of them are going to see what Micah does, and they're going to immediately try to step up to help him. But I don't think all 53 are going to do it. And if their mindset is, of all games we lose this year, this is the game we want. I don't care how badly we're injured. I don't care how bad we look. I don't care what everybody says. This is the game we want. If all 53 go out there like that, we can pull this one off. This will be a major victory for us because it's in our division and it's against our assistant coach and blah, blah, blah. But it's in our division.
And Washington, arguably, is Dallas is historically their biggest rival.
Big rival.
I mean, maybe not in the last 20 years, not in the last 20 years. But they always been. And I would say this. I was going to say this, Andrew, and I agree with you 100%. Our defense has been playing hard, undermanned, but they have been playing hard. 10 turnovers in 2 games with the offense. I don't blame. I mean, be clear. I don't even blame our defense this year. I mean, you lost 4 defensive ends. You're going to get a couple guys back, right? Maybe Nealon gets back. If you guys know who's in and out, let me know. I know Diggs is out. I know Martin's out, but on offense, and Ferguson's out. Cooks is out, but Cooks has been out. But, they should be getting Bland back. But this defense is playing hard. I mean, Overshown has been a superstar. Parsons has been everything that you expect him to be. That's why I laugh. Like, people get rid of or trade Parsons. I mean, Jesus, man, you know how hard it is to find a player like that dominant. I would get rid of almost anyone else. I'd get rid of the quarterback before I'd get rid of Parsons. If you want to get rid of somebody, if you had to pick somebody that you had to unload, Parsons is the least of the team's problems. But, they have just got to, get something on offense. Now, I would say what we talked about with Shannon Sharpe, what kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit with Diggs is he ain't playing today, but he was able to go out to the club and shoot a video after the game. I mean, if you were hurt and maybe he wasn't hurt, was he hurt in practice? I don't know. But if you were hurt, wouldn't you? I mean, to focus on getting some rehabilitation, some treatment. I don't know.
But see, we're different. Our mindset is different. We're mature. We're mature. We know better. We've been around long enough to see the evolution of the Cowboys and see what type of maturity and what leadership has always been there. This is probably one of the first years, and maybe last year started, but this is one of the first years where all the real leadership is not there. And Diggs is doing what a young man does, exposed to that light and that money. That's what he's doing. And when he talks, you can tell there's a sense of arrogancy about him, because I know that first time I ever heard him talk really was when he talked to that reporter. And he sounds so arrogant and nonchalant. I was like, is this Diggs? And that right there just told me a whole lot about him. It kept sticking in my head. But see, Micah Parsons, Overshown is trying to show everybody I've been a Ferrari on the bench because of injury last year. But now that I'm back, I'm going to show you who I am. And like I said, Greeny on that Mike Green show, little scrawny piece of spaghetti, he started that mess about the Micah Parsons thing. And I told you, because of social media, it'll start taking legs. And I told you, even though you said, I don't see him doing it. I don't put nothing past Jerry Jones. I don't put a damn thing by him. And if he makes the big colossal mistake of trying to get rid of Parsons because he let the media influence him, then shame on him. But those two will play today. Those two will show what they got. And the defense, other than those 2 blowout games, and the offense didn't score worth a damn either. Other than those 2 blowout games that we had, the defense has been playing decent.
Yeah.
Enough to say, offense, look, we're holding the dam. It's about to bust. We're holding the dam. Catch up. And the offense hasn't. These are young players. By the time you get to the end of the second quarter, and all of a sudden, third quarter, you go into the third quarter, all of a sudden you see your offense ain't going to do shit, and it's the same routine the whole time. All of a sudden, these young kids start to lose faith. And all of a sudden, they get tired because they've been on the field too long. And all of a sudden, plays just get by them, and it's like, oh, well, it's going to be another game. And that's what breaks the defense's heart. Yeah. When that offense not only tries, but doesn't look like they're doing a damn thing. It's not like they tried hard and couldn't do it. They get out there and they look sloppy as hell. And eventually the dam breaks. And the defense been out there too long. And the defense faith is going away because of they thinking that the offense is going to catch up. And they don't. And all of a sudden, the maturity settles in. And it's like, man, F it.
Yeah.
Man.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's like I said, the defense has been so undermanned. The offense has been terrible. That's why I don't understand. I mean, what's his name must really suck, Trey Lance, because I don't know why you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
And then for Stephen Jones to come out and say he doesn't regret that pick and that trade and giving up the 4th round pick. I mean, how do you? I mean, that's the part. It's like, how do you not say, yeah? I mean, it was insurance, hindsight. It didn't work out. I mean, but you're still trying to sell people on it. If he can't beat out Cooper Rush, you're talking about a top 5 pick, a young kid, can't beat out a 31-year-old journeyman, been a backup his whole career. I mean, what does that say? I mean, what does that say about Trey Lance? I mean, I just don't even know. He must, or the organization is just this stupid. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. It's crazy.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Stephen doesn't fall far from his father. He's a salesman. That's all he did. He's going to go all in on making that choice, whether it was a good or bad choice. He's going to go all in. He doesn't. But see, the evidence proves otherwise. Then if you don't regret it, then why isn't he on the field? You brought him in, really, Jerry. You brought him in to put pressure on Dak. That's what you did. To tell Dak, look, you don't get your act together. This is what I'm going to put in here. And you brought him in at the least to be Dak's backup immediately before Rush. You didn't bring him in as a number 3 because you could have went and got Ducanucci or somebody. But you brought him in to put pressure on Dak without telling Dak that. And you brought him in to be number 2 anyway, but you're not playing him. So there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, or that was a bad decision. You just did it to put pressure on Dak, and now it didn't work with Dak, and Dak's hurt, and now you stuck with it. And when you stuck with it, Jerry Jones, rather than do the right thing and say, I blew it, he's going to say, oh, no, that was the best decision I ever made. That was the best decision. Well, proof is in the pudding. If it's the best decision, let him play today. Let him play today. And if the first half we don't do anything, let them play the second half. We have nothing to lose. Let the water boy play. We got nothing to lose. But
I'd rather see guys and use this last 7 weeks or whatever we got left, hopefully sooner than later. Let's see who wants to be a Cowboy and who doesn't. Right. Let's see who wants to play and who doesn't. Who's in, who's out, who's quitting. So that way they can get rid of whoever's quitting. So one thing is to see how they play is there's been stories about Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury this could be an audition for him as possibly being looked at as the next Dallas Cowboy coach. Do you think he's a legit candidate? My opinion of Kingsbury, I like Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's a good offensive mind. He does something that's weird happening in college and pros where the second half of the year they kind of fade away. It's going to be interesting to see how this Washington team finishes the year. They've lost a couple in a row, so now people are like, man, here we go again. The offense is getting stagnant. You saw it with Arizona. You saw it a little bit in college. I mean, do you think he's a legit candidate? To me, this is one of those. If it is, it's one of those safe hires. It's a Jason Garrett hire. It's a McCarthy hire. It's a Chan Gailey hire. it's one of those, where you still know Jerry's going to control it. I don't think Kingsbury's going to be a guy that's going to be dropping the hammer on anyone. Like maybe a Ben Johnson could come in with a lot of respect for everything he's done in the Lions. Obviously, Belichick, we talked about, of Vrabel with the Super Bowl rings and the success he's had. I mean, Kingsbury's not going to have that kind of presence. So what do you think about it? You think this is all media noise, or do you think there's some validity to it?
From my experience watching the football for over 59 years, is when you bring in a brilliant offensive coordinator and make him a head coach, most of the times it doesn't work. And unfortunately, in business, there are people that are good at this job, damn good at this job. But when you move them up here to run the whole organization, they can't control it. And what they were good at fails because the person you brought in to replace them doesn't have that mindset and that genius that they have to do that. Cliff Kingsbury, of course, he want to be a head coach. There's a lot more money with that. There's a lot, the opportunity, you're the man on top. What I would do, and this is just me, I would highly, first, if I'm going to do Belichick, then I'm going to tell Bill, I know you want to bring in your own crew, but please give Kingsbury a good look at our offensive coordinator, and I want to pay him more than any other offensive coordinator. That's to lure him in there, and hopefully he won't take a head coach job somewhere else if anybody tries to offer one, and it might be at a job like Jacksonville, somewhere where you don't want to start over. But whoever you bring in, whether it's Vrabel or whoever, I would want to go get Kingsbury, bring him into us to do the same thing he's doing at Washington that he's an expert at, because an offensive coordinator doesn't have to worry about the entire team as a head coach. If he becomes head coach, he's going to have an offensive coordinator that he delegated to. That offensive coordinator isn't him. Even if he says, I'm going to have a heavy influence on what you do, that heavy influence still is not his 100% influence.
It would be like Schottenheimer and what you have with McCarthy, right? Schottenheimer's coordinator, McCarthy's calling the plays, but Schottenheimer's, you know what I mean? It'd be
so like bring him in, but to lure him in, pay him more than you pay any other offensive coordinator in the league, to lure him in with us. And because it's the star and Cowboys, that might be enough to bring him over and tell his agent, you know what? Not really care about that Jets, Raiders, or Jacksonville job as a head coach, when Jerry Jones gonna make me the highest paid offensive coordinator, and I'll be with the Cowboys. And there's an opportunity, if things don't work out there, I can move on up as head coach. Go get him, Jerry. Get him as offense coordinator, because what he's doing as offense coordinator totally outshines what he did as a head coach. I watched that, and one good thing I like about Hard Knocks, you get to see the mentality and character of people. And I saw his character with Arizona. He had that character like he was kind of timid around the players. He would talk to them, like, yeah, we didn't have a good game this week, but next week we're gonna fix this and do this. He didn't appear like he was that leader to where when he speaks, they listen. Not that he was inept. His demeanor and character just wasn't that. Yeah. As an offensive coordinator, he doesn't have to be that. He can focus 100% on offensive coordinator, and he's doing a damn good job of it at Washington. And what do commentators and pro analysts always say? Kingsbury, you see what he's doing with that offense? He will make one hell of a head coach. No. I don't understand why these people claim to be experts. It's 100%. I don't see how they see that, Mike.
Even remember Norv Turner. Norv Turner was a great offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, was part of all the Super Bowls. He went to Washington, couldn't get that success. Then he went to the Raiders, couldn't get that success. But then he went to Minnesota, to the Chargers and was a coordinator with them. And they were, they had some really good years there. So sometimes these coordinators, there's certain ones that's what they do. But I think Quinn do it. We'll see how it is with how he finishes with
Washington.
At the
Chiefs.
I think some of that.
Spagnuolo,
same thing. Great defensive coordinator.
Look how long he's been there doing what he does and how many Super Bowls they got. Now he used to be a head coach. Now take him and go make him a head coach somewhere. Ain't going to be successful.
No, he was with the Rams and he couldn't win, but I think he won Super Bowls with the Giants and all that. So yeah, absolutely.
Right. Who's going to do the job that he's done to get the Chiefs where they got him? Who can do it just like him? So some coordinators are damn good at being coordinators. I know they want that head coach job because the money and everything else that comes with it. But I would definitely go out in Kingsbury. I'm going to make you the highest paid offensive coordinator.
Well, he can't go. He's not coming to Dallas. He's not coming to Dallas.
No, but I'm saying,
talking about him as a head coach.
I'm saying,
yeah. No, as a head coach, I don't know. I wouldn't be doing backflips with him if they brought him as a head coach. Like I said, I like him. Hell no. He does a good job, but I think this is just some noise. I just don't really see him being a fit. They usually, Jerry will do when they get things bad, he'll do a 180. We're going to see if he does that, similar to what he did with Parcells, because the Cowboys are going to get, they're going to be hitting rock bottom. But I do want them to win today.
I want to win every day.
Yeah. I just win this one for me for Washington, because I can't stand Washington. I don't, I go at it with their fans, and they finally got a reason to be happy. And I applaud them for it after all that misery they've had all these years. They should have something to get excited about. So, looking at, we talked about with our cornerback, it's just really odd between Diggs and Bland. I don't know if they've been on the field much in their career together. It always seems like when one's out, the other one's in, and, vice versa or whatever. And we were really excited to see the Bland and Diggs combo this year. And obviously that didn't happen. Bland, broke a bone. He's been out a while. Now it looks like he's playing today, and then Diggs is out. I mean, what are your expectations for Bland? Because hear me out. Like, when I talked about what this team is going to do and where they're going to go, you're going to end up having to make a decision between Bland and Diggs, whether you like it or not, because when Bland is due a contract, you're either going to have to let him go, because you're not going to pay two cornerbacks, that kind of money, or you're going to have to let Diggs go and then sign Bland. So I think these last few games, a lot of people say, why you have Bland? You shouldn't play. I think he needs to play. I think he needs to play to show what he's got. He's recovered, but show he's still at the form and still at that all-pro level that he was at, and this is going to be important for him to showcase it.
Well, first of all, if Diggs went out, I don't think Bland would be in. If Diggs was not out, I don't think they bring Bland back. I think what they really want to do is hold Bland out to real late in the season to make sure he's 100% healed, because he's the future. Bland is our future. Bland is young. Bland comes in, he's ready. He got that injury. Let's let him fully heal before we ruin his career trying to make him play because we're desperate. And then all of a sudden now when the season's over, we've already ruined him in injuries. And now it'll take forever for him to come back, and he'll never be the same. If Diggs was playing today, I almost guarantee Bland would still be out there. Give him another week or two to heal up, because I heard something about he was in limited practicing, but then he was kind of limited because he was having a few little issues with his foot or something like that. Now, the only reason they're bringing him in, I think, because Diggs is out, and they definitely need somebody, because we're so depleted back there that somebody's got to step up. I don't think Bland is going to be 100% today. The weather, when it's cold like that, injuries that you heal from can take a toll. You can easily re-injure it in that cold weather if you don't stay moving and stay warm, and that kind of issue happens. So don't expect Bland, everybody, when he comes in, to be the Bland that got the 6 INTs and pick sixes. Expect Bland to come in and be kind of gun shy. It's his first game coming back after the injury. He's not going to come out running 100%. He's going to come out. He's going to try to be, his instinct's going to try to make him play the way he was, but his body's going to tell him, hey, don't make that cut so hard right here, or watch this. And with the cold weather, when he's standing around, if he starts to feel a little bit in his foot, you believe me, he's going to try to nurse that foot and try to be easy on it. And they're going to test Bland because of that, to see if he's fully healed and ready. And whoever's on the other side, they damn sure going to try to test it, because we're depleted back there. So don't expect a whole lot of Bland, and don't blame Bland if he gets burnt, because he's just coming back from an injury. He might be forced into the game because of Diggs being out.
Yeah.
Speaking of Diggs, and like I said, it's always been in my head after hearing that interview with that guy, that reported how Diggs was just so nonchalant and arrogant and conceited. And I'm thinking, Diggs had an opportunity to show when Bland was out among all the corners that I am the man. Diggs been getting burnt like a goddamn match. He's been getting burnt. And Diggs has been getting exposed. So,
well, and I think
Diggs
coming off
wasn't-
the the ACI, I mean, they're
yeah, but still,
usually a little. Well, I don't think he's been terrible. I have more issue with Diggs, the physicality. Like, I think Frank put it, like he just doesn't, he doesn't like contact as much. I probably have more. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to.
That entails everything. That entails everything. His lack of tackles like Dion used to do back in the day, swift at people. He doesn't hold them. He doesn't wrap them. He has been getting exposed. And not that he's terrible, but he's been getting exposed because now he didn't have Bland over there as the 1-2, Batman and Robin. And now anything he does is highlighted because it's just him. And speaking of,
we got a couple of questions. Let's say we got a couple of questions in the chat. Let's jump through them real quick so we get caught up. I don't want to leave these guys hanging. Why the hell did you guys get rid of Pollard just to get a washed up? Well, always thought he was Zeke. Now I'm not part of Yep. I'm not well, but and I'm not part of you guys. So what I would say is I didn't have a problem with them getting rid of Pollard. I thought they were getting a running back. If they would have got another running back, I had no issues getting rid of Pollard, but I would have just signed Pollard to that deal, low cost deal, if you weren't going to get a running back. We all thought they were going to go get Henry at the time. You thought they were going to go get a top running back, maybe in the draft. So I don't know your thoughts on it, Greg.
Yeah, I didn't want Pollard to leave. Pollard was great at his role.
Yeah.
And then when we got rid of Pollard, we didn't bring anybody in to fill that other role that Zeke used to fill. And now you want Pollard to fill that role? There's no way Mighty Mouse was going to fill that role. And I wanted him to stay because he was perfect at his role. Just bring somebody else in bigger. But the other issue was Pollard was getting offered money that Jerry didn't want to match. And Pollard was not going to take less. Even if we tried to sign him for less, because other teams wanted him that bad.
He didn't sign for much. I mean, for
but Jerry didn't want to pay him that. Jerry didn't want to pay him that. And by Jerry letting him go, not bringing anybody in, I didn't like the fact that he was gone. I wanted him to stay and then bring somebody else in to fill that role of Zeke so Pollard can shine where he needs to be. Pollard was a great asset for us at what he does. Don't get rid of you got rid of Zeke and now you want Pollard to be both.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL today is a 1-2 punch for the most part. There's very few running backs that are the everyday back. There's probably 4. I mean, Henry, Barkley, CMC, and maybe Bijan that gets put in there or whatever.
If we could easily see as fans that Pollard is outstanding at what he does, don't expect him to be this guy. What are they seeing?
They don't value the running back. I mean, in my opinion, they just don't value the running back position. They just don't see the value in it. So that's what and it was proven in the offseason. They didn't draft a running back. They didn't get a running back. They felt that their offensive line and their receiving, the way that they run their offense, a running back wasn't important. And I mean, anyone who's been around football long enough knows, I mean, you got to have a running game, but a run sets the pass. I mean, as great as Patrick Mahomes was, they got better those years when Pacheco was kind of the guy. Look at Tom Brady's Super Bowl run. Leonard Fournette ended up being the beast, in that playoff run. You always need to have that running game. It balances everything out. One other question from Rick is, if you have an automatic win, one win for this rest of the season, what would you pick? Now, I'm picking today, not only because I could win $270, so selfishly I want that, but I want this win. I don't really care about Philly again. It really doesn't. I mean, they're a better team this year. It really doesn't matter. Their fans, they are what they are. None of the teams in our division are going anywhere. Not going to the Super Bowl unless something really crazy happens to Detroit. I mean, Detroit just seems miles ahead of anyone. So I'd say Washington only because I talked a lot of shit. I got a lot of stuff from Washington fans. So I'd love the opportunity to throw it back at them and bring them back to reality. So I'm going to say this Washington game. What about you?
Since we play Philly later in the season and it doesn't matter about that game, then I would have said Philly because I want that game against Philly bad, but it would have been the first time we played Philly in Dallas. Not later this season when we play them again, because that game won't mean anything. And because that game doesn't mean anything, and we've already passed the game that if this question was asked at the beginning of the season, I would have said Philly back then. Now that that's gone, it is Washington. It is Washington at Washington. It is Washington at Washington. If any game on the rest of this the record, the rest of the schedule that I want, it's Washington at Washington. Because by the time they come to Dallas and we play them, that game won't mean anything either. Those two games, that and Philly later in the season, they won't mean anything to us. So if we beat them, it ain't like, oh, we beat y'all. Look, guys, we already got our record. We're going to the playoffs. Y'all beat us down here. We didn't play everybody. So this game right here is still in the middle of the season. It means a lot to Washington, more to Washington than it does to us. And if we beat them and beat them at home, it'll give us a big chest of relief, just a little bit, to be able to brag for the next week or two, because it is a division rival.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do you think the Cowboys have more packages for Trey Lance? I mean, I hope so. I mean, I don't know why, because you struggle running the ball, and Trey Lance, you know, it's proven with his legs he can run around a little bit. I don't know why you wouldn't have packages in there, either Wildcat, something where he's got run, you know, can do RPOs or something. I personally think there should be no package. His ass should be in the game the whole time. Not a big fan of Cooper Rush. I said it. You can go back on the tape. I said if Dallas gets in a position this year and they get a catastrophic injury at quarterback, they need to put Trey Lance in the game, and he needs to be the starter. If Dak got hurt and needs someone to play a quarter or two, I would go with Cooper Rush. Trey Lance, at least you have a potential ceiling, you know, and you could see what he has. And then I would say, if you saw what he has and you like it, now you're thinking, well, maybe I could talk to him about maybe taking a lower end deal, 2-year deal, and continue to work him and groom him, because he is still, believe it or not, pretty day. He's younger than drafted this year. Maybe he's a guy that you groom to replace Dak. I don't know, but I'm just saying is I would at least go down fighting with him. And then if he leaves, I think you would get a better comp pick if his value is higher, right? If his value is higher as a player. So I don't know why they don't. I wish they would, but what do you think? You'll see more Trey today, or it's going to be the same old?
Well, no, I don't see any packages with our first string offense right now. So I don't have any confidence that when we're not watching them and they're practicing, that they're coming up with certain packages for Lance. And that's what disturbs me. Remember, I said in several shows, I don't see any play action motions. I don't see anything to keep that other defense, keep them honest and moving in motions in our offense right now, to keep the defense over there wondering what we're going to do. We have no packages. We play vanilla right now. So for me to have any confidence that we're developing some type of packages just for Trey Lance that are going to be more creative, and we haven't played Trey Lance yet, but that little bit we did, I don't see any. And I think if they brought him in, they're going to bring him in to our current vanilla packages. The only other difference will be every now and then he runs. But other than that, he's going to come in with our same vanilla package. So the only package one that I think they'll develop for Trey Lance is his ability to run, and they'll have a particular package for that. But other than packages for him, different than what we're doing right now, vanilla, I have no confidence that they're developing anything like that. And especially because of the fact they haven't played them and haven't even mentioned anything about playing them. So who's to say they're back in the lab developing all these great packages for Trey Lance? Y'all wait and see. We're going to put them out there with these packages that y'all have never seen before. What, in the last game of the season? It ain't happening.
No. And one other question. You think McCarthy's coaching style has become dated? I mean, last year, we're only a year ago, they had the top offense in the NFL, and the team was 12-5. He's been 12-5 the last 3 years. So I don't think it's dated. I think what's dated is our GM and what they handed him. I mean, you had a 12-5 team, and by the roster, you got worse because you let guys go that you never replaced with veterans or anyone of equal caliber. You bank on a draft and put all this pressure on rookies. And I know I saw something early about Guyton. Guyton's no bust. I mean, Guyton's playing left tackle as a rookie. Go look at his performances. He's gotten better and better, but he's a left tackle as a rookie. He's going to have bumps in the road. We all said that. So, you put a lot of pressure on these guys. Would have been nice for Guyton to have a mentor, a veteran guy that they can at least kind of, spot play him and help him out. They didn't do it. So I don't think McCarthy is dated. I think our team's philosophy is dated, where you're constantly just banking on the draft. That's what you did what Jerry's doing and what this team does. That's what you did in Jimmy Johnson's era. You built through the draft. There was a 5-year, 3-year process, and you had you had 12 rounds early on in those Cowboy, in those Cowboy years, and you did a lot of wheeling and dealing to get a lot of draft picks. You can build through the draft, but most teams and most Super Bowl teams are building through free agency. I mean, you go back to the Rams after the picks, and you go back, the Chiefs made a couple, good moves on offense and let some of their guys go. There's gotta be a balance. It can't be all of one and all of another. It has to be a combination. So I think what's dated is the philosophy of the Cowboys organization that starts at the top. And that's my opinion of it. I don't know.
Well, if people say that, Mike, because it's low-hanging fruit. That's one of the first things people do. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody out there, no matter whether you are in chat or not chat. See, like I said, I've been watching this game for 50-some years. I pay attention to certain things. And I don't automatically say, oh, the quarterback straight trash. The coach straight trash. They're low-hanging fruit. That's where everybody goes to first. You need to look at the top. You need to look at how we do things. Now, look at McCarthy. He's been successful with us up until this year. And if McCarthy would have had a GM separate from an owner, what they would have done was what Philly did, was what the Chiefs did, was what the Lions do, all these other teams during the year. They would have went and got people to enhance. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. They would have got plug-and-play players to enhance what we have each season to help get us where we need to go. Look at all these teams that have been going deep in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. That's what they're doing. It is a model. It's a established model. What Jerry did, got rid of people, didn't backfill. During the season when he had opportunity to go get a plug-and-play player, he didn't give that to McCarthy. In the offseason, when he had opportunity to go get a player who moved to Dallas, he didn't do it. All of a sudden, Barkley's available. He didn't talk to him. You can't win. That old mentality that Jerry had was, this is the team we got. We're going to keep this team for the next 15 years, and we're just going to add from the draft. It doesn't work. If Jerry's smart and he doesn't want to bring in a GM, look at these teams and say, what are they doing I'm not doing? Shoot, the Chiefs went out there and got a running back. They went out and got a wide receiver. But Philadelphia did the same thing the year they went to the Super Bowl. Look what the Lions doing. They're doing this. Let me do this. Then let me go out there and get some. Mike, what do you need, man? During the season, free agency coming up. What do you need? What do you need? He didn't give him anything, but he's expecting him to be almighty Caesar and then do it all with what he's got. Oh, and by the way, Mike, I'm going to take some players away from you. And I'm not going to backfield. And then when I backfield, I'm going to give you somebody worth about $35. I got them from Walmart last week. That's it. So, and when you do that, you can't be successful. And the whole world, Mike, saw it this year. The whole world saw Jerry naked. The entire world saw him naked. And they can't blame him.
I don't want to see him naked.
No, but the fans will automatically go to Dak, money, McCarthy, Lamb, because it's low-hanging fruit. It's the first thing people holler.
Well, that's what they do. I mean, it's easy. I give Jerry credit because he's been able to be, be shielded. And it's always easy one is like the Dak, McCarthy, like you said. And this year, he's not getting, I'm telling you, and you've been around, the Cowboys longer than I have. This is about the most heat I've seen Jerry in. And the only thing close to it was those 3, 5, and 11 years, after Aikman and Irvin and all of that. Yeah. And then he went and got Bill Parcells, but then he ruined it. Yeah, I mean, he obviously ruined it.
Yeah.
So after a little while when the success started. So I think that's my only hope is the heat continues to pour on him. And then he's going to make one of those drastic moves, look in the mirror kind of moves. And it'll only last for a little while. We just got to hopefully it lasts long enough to get our organization. Because look, in the NFL, you could turn it around quickly. The Cowboys
real
have a
quick.
lot of talent. I mean, talent isn't the team's problem.
Right.
It's all in the head. It's all in the accountability in the heart. And I talked about it, and I'm not going to, go dig it up again. But I had the opportunity to talk to some people, definitely in the know. And there is a lot of internal turmoil within this organization this year, more than I've ever heard in my life. And it's bad. And that's why I say I feel bad for McCarthy. I feel bad for some of these players that are dealing with some of these younger guys that aren't used to this kind of toxic environment. And they're like, we just want to win. And there's people on this team that's not their priority. And, you have coach. So there's just a lot of this team needs a cleansing. They need a cleansing. I mean, it's got to happen. And Bobby, I didn't hear anything about Jerry meeting with John Lynch. Hopefully he did, because John Lynch is a pretty smart dude. And I will tell you, the other guy that they should be talking to is Moose Johnston. Daryl Moose Johnston should be in this organization, GM, vice, whatever they want him. That guy knows football. He knows how to build, organizations and rosters. Look what he did in the USFL. Look what he did in the UFL. All you got to do is listen to that guy talk for about 15 minutes. He is one of the most qualified people. I don't know how he doesn't have a GM job to begin with, even if it wasn't with the Cowboys. He knows foot. That's the kind of people that they need in. And Moose Johnston knows Cowboys culture. He knows what, the spotlight is always going to be on Dallas. He knows that. So I would love the Cowboys to look outside and bring a guy in. It's a family business. We all know it, right? They want to keep it. But I think it would be a tremendous hire if Jerry would bring someone in, because we hear Will McClay, and I heard, Will McClay's the GM. Will McClay's not the GM. Now, he has influence, but Will McClay doesn't have the GM title. He doesn't have the authority, and that's what we talk about. It's all about empowering your people. When you give them, you're kind of like the GM, but I'm the GM, you are basically cutting the legs from underneath them. They do that with their coaches too. When you hire McCarthy and you say Kellen Moore is going to be your offensive coordinator, when they hire Wade Phillips and they say we already hired your offensive coordinator with Jason Garrett, you're cutting the authority. You're cutting everything. So they're not respected, and they don't have that authority to do those things. That's the problem. That's the problem with everything in this organization and the way they do it. That's just my point.
And Moose Johnston. But here's the common denominator in the whole thing that makes that work, no matter who he brings in. And I would love Moose Johnston to come in. The common denominator is, where the op word is, if Jerry allows him to do the job you brought him into. Don't bring him in with this title and don't give him the authority. You have to give him authority, because Moose Johnston would be great at that, and being a Cowboy himself and knowing what type of players you need from back in the era. And remember this, all the veteran Cowboys will be coming out of the cellar. They'll be talking to Moose. Moose will be pulling on them. Emmett, let me talk to you. Troy, let me talk to you. So-and-so, let me talk to you. Defensive guys he knows, let me talk to you. This is what I'm doing. But he'll have all of that abundance of experience and information around him to help him thrive. If Jerry gives him the authority. If he doesn't give him the authority, no matter who he brings in, it doesn't make any sense. And then who people going to blame? They're going to point at the Moose Johnston, because Jerry's going to hide behind him and say these little nuances during his interviews to make it almost say like he didn't throw a jab at him, but he did throw a jab at him. But he's not going to say, well, guys, I really set him up to fail because I brought him in and didn't give him the authority of the job that he's supposed to be doing. But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to say something snide in the interview, and then you guys are going to figure out, you're going to go running and you're going to blame Moose Johnston when it's really not Moose Johnston's fault. So you have to bring in, you have to give him the authority to do that. And I'm glad you brought him up, because I got a picture with Moose Johnston from the USFL 2 years ago. I'm going to go find that picture, and I'm going to go to Walmart and get them to print an 8x10 so I can put it in my case over here, because I like Moose Johnston. I just like him, period. And Lynch, I don't know where you heard that from. I hope it wasn't Facebook. Like somebody got news that Bruce Smith was dead, and they told my brother was all emotional. Yeah, and I said, Jim, who told you? One of my friends. I said, Jim, call your friend back and ask him, did he get from Facebook? Because that's what a lot of these young kids, they assume Facebook is news. Found out that's exactly where he got it from. I said, Jim, don't listen to somebody say he got news from Facebook. But Lynch ain't leaving the 49ers to come to Dallas.
No, he's not leaving.
He's not leaving.
He's not leaving there. But maybe he's giving him some advice. Hopefully, he's giving him some advice.
He ain't leaving.
I like John Lynch a lot.
I like him too.
I think he's great.
Him and Moose seem like the prototypical models of each other.
Yeah, no, he's a smart guy. I mean, hey, and he's done well with the 49ers. I mean, they haven't won a Super Bowl, but I mean, they've had their opportunities. And, at the end of the day, all you're really trying to get are opportunities. If you don't, then you're just like all the other 31 teams. That's why I tell you, I mean, there's only going to be one team happy. All the other teams, my argument and my crack back to them was, all right, yeah, you won the division, you made the playoffs, but we got a higher draft pick. So at the end of the day, who the hell cares? And that's what you do. Unfortunately, that's what you do. That's what you got to do. I've heard it. When the Cowboys make the playoffs, they're like, so what? You lost. You didn't accomplish your goal. So go ahead and we got a better draft pick. I mean, that's what you do.
At the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, we won when like last year, beginning of the season, we won. I mean, this year we won our first game against Cleveland. Everybody came back in comments on my page talking about, but just wait till the playoffs. Just taking the steam out of it. Like, we don't care what you do all season. We're just waiting till y'all get to the playoffs. That's it. No, and it's crazy because we can go 16-0, 17-0, whatever. We can win all these games. These people sit back and just say, I don't care. I'm just waiting for the playoffs. That's the only time I'm really going to say something to y'all. And during the season, playoffs, that's all they do is harp on that. And then we as fans, we get excited during the season because we're winning. But then in the back of our head is, man, I hope we don't dive in the first round of the playoffs.
I don't know. All I want is opportunity. That's all you can ask. Just like my Canes, I want my Canes and our Canes, I should say, because you're a Canes fan too. Is Syracuse isn't going to be a pushover. Take care of that. Get SMU's not going to be a pushover, and they got our old coordinator, right? So he's very familiar with Miami, and at that point, let the chips fall where they may. If you make it in the playoffs, you see what happens. But there was a lot of college football, upsets, this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it was upset Saturday. There were a lot of teams that went down. You saw, obviously Colorado went down. A&M, it was kind of a pick'em game, but A&M losing to Auburn. Crazy game at night.
Yeah, crazy.
Obviously, Miami started. Their offense was a little slow. Defense played much better, thank God. But then the offense was a little funky. But then the offense got rolling and they covered. So they took care of business. Alabama loses to Oklahoma. Now you're like, is Alabama going to be out of the playoff picture altogether? And I think BYU lost. Lost. There was a lot of upsets, and I think what you're seeing in college football, like NFL, is parity. You're getting a lot of these teams, like people say, because I say it about the SEC, and I mean it with no disrespect, but the SEC is a bunch of good to average teams. The elite team, the days of Alabama and everyone else, those days are over.
Yeah,
I mean, because the NIL and the transfer portal has leveled out the playing field in all these teams. Go look at Miami's roster. They're riddled with guys that were on other teams, and go look at who Miami lost to. Georgia Tech, they had former Miami guys on their team. And then you look at it. So it is, these guys are just moving around. And so there's a lot of parity in college football, like you're getting in the NFL. It's not as close in the NFL because you have so many teams in college. But, when that playoff thing starts with that 12 teams, I said, it's a coin flip. I mean, it's anyone's game. So it makes college football a lot of fun.
And one thing about college football now, back in the day, like you said, you have a powerhouse that lasts for years, or you can have somebody with 3 years in a row. It's not going to happen now. Everybody better get all the chips they can get each year, because players are moving and they're getting that money, and they got families to feed. They got families to take care of. They want to take care of them now. A lot of them aren't banking on the fact that I got a chance in the NFL. That would be great, but give me the money now so I can help my mother, help my grandmother, help my kids, or whatever I got to do. So they're moving. And teams out there are throwing the money at them. Come over here. I'll give you $2 million on the nil. So don't look for a team to continue to start winning year after year, just like Miami. Each time when I do my little hype videos, and a lot of times I say, fans, let's hope we get it all we can get this year. We can't bank on having this same team next year because who knows where they're going to be, especially Cam.
Well, yeah, Cam's gone.
Yeah, Cam's gone, and it's going to be a lot of them going to get pulled away from him.
Gaines is probably going to be gone. I don't know what year he is, but you're going to lose a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's going to lose a lot. So I want to get it all that we can. But see, I want to get past Syracuse. I've been saying it for the last 4 games in my hype videos for the Miami. I said, let's get this game right here. Let's focus on this game. Don't worry about the next one. I said, because it's that Syracuse game, it's going to be a beast. You're playing in their Orange Dome. You're playing Syracuse, who's playing some good ball. The last game of the season, Syracuse wants to be a giant killer. They can stop us from going further, playing SMU. So we have to. And if our defense plays against Syracuse like they played this weekend, I would be happy. But offense got to step it up. Cam, quit holding that ball and run.
He holds it too long. I scream at that. Run. Why doesn't he run?
You see that opening, Cam?
Drives me insane.
Need that Syracuse game is going to pin. I'm going to be on pins and needles down to the final second.
I'm glad I'm not the only one because, like, that one where he flipped the ball, like, why? I was telling this down, like, why? He could have ran for 5 yards, and it blows my mind. And I don't know if Shedeur is going to be a bust. The thing I would say about Shedeur, I think for him, because I know they're making this like package. Oh, it's got to be Dion and Shedeur. Shedeur needs to go to a team and create his own legacy if he gets that opportunity. He needs to get out of his dad's shadow. I mean, that's a big shadow to be under. And I think Dion too. I think Dion, which he's staying in Colorado. They just recruited one of the top quarterbacks in the country, is going to college. So I don't think Dion's going anywhere I don't think he wants to be in the NFL, but I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think Dion needs to make his legacy of coaching without his kids. So I think I think that's it. Got some breaking news that we knew Zach Martin's out, but it looks like Tyler Smith is out. So you are going to have a pretty rough offensive line.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready. So, that bet I made, that's not looking too good. But the thing is, there's a bold prediction that was out there on NFL.com. Maybe it's going to come true. And they said 10 sacks for the Washington Commanders. And I'm thinking of the offensive line. You're going to have Guyton. You're going to have Bass. You're going to have Beebe. You're going to have Hoffman. You're going to have Steele, I'm guessing, Steele's been terrible unless they put in Richards, but then he's a young guy. You got Chuma. That may be back. Maybe they kick Guyton the right tackle, Chuma left. I don't know what they're going to do, but that offensive line is that's going to be rough. If Tyler's out, Zach has been hurt. I think Zach needed to sit out, but he's asking. That's for damn sure. Me.
They wouldn't sack me 10 times. I just hand it off. Look, here, Vaughn. Here, Dowdle. Here, I don't care if you get 2 yards. You ain't getting 10 sacks on me. There you go. Out of bounds.
Absolutely. I ain't mess with that. But the Canes defense played very well yesterday. We were worried about the defense. The offense sputtered early, but they run the ball and then they got away from it. But I think the Canes are gonna be fine. I don't, TJ Bass, I said that they're gonna be starting. So you're gonna have you're going to basically have 2 rookies, 2 backups, and Steele, who probably should be a backup, as your offensive line. So if by miracle Dallas wins this game, that'd be pretty exciting. It'd be a lot of good shit talking that I could use to make fun of the Washington Commanders. And if they beat us, who cares? I mean,
I would like to see them get the ball out quicker, though. If they are developing any kind of packages at all for our first string offense. Develop package where we're getting the ball out quicker. 1-2 boom, 1-2 boom, 1-2 bam, 1-2 Stephon, 1-2 boom, Flournoy. I mean, get it out. Just get it out. Cooks might be back, but I just want him to get the ball out. Just get it out quicker. Develop packages, get it out quicker, and to keep the defense honest.
And I love my man Steve, but I'm not bringing in Shedeur and Coach Prime together.
Nope.
Notice I said that I said that together. I'm not bringing them in together. You guys talk about nepotism. You talk about all this stuff. I mean, that is a recipe for disaster. There's no way in hell that a father should be the head coach and the son, the quarterback, the two most important positions on the same team. You want to talk about a circus? That'll be a full-on circus. You want to bring in one or the other? I don't really have an issue with.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem if the Cowboys believe in Shador or Cam or, whoever's out there, and they believe that that's a franchise quarterback and a guy that they can count on for 15 years. Draft him. I think, I heard a couple, GMs talk about this and draft guys. And I firmly believe in it. The first round, you draft the best available player, regardless of position. Yes. Don't draft for position, draft best available player. When you get into the middle rounds and getting that, then you're drafting for need, your depth and this and that. But if the Cowboys get an opportunity for a top 5 pick, I'm drafting the best player on the board.
Yep. And Shador doesn't need to go to a team that's straight trash, although those teams pick first. And if they do, if they're smart, they will make sure if they're going to take a quarterback, a good quarterback like that they also pick people in their best players, but get people that's going to surround him to help him be successful. Don't get him and think he's going to be the savior of it, because we see too many unsuccessful teams doing that now, and they want to blame the quarterback, but you didn't give him any protection. And then good thing about getting the best available player is if not only do you have the best available player, but if that best available player at that time isn't necessarily what you think you need, you can always use that as trade bait with somebody else to get more round picks, because it's happened with the Eli Mannings and all those guys. So you never pass on the best available, because you have an option to also take that best available and multiply it by other picks if that person isn't the position that you really need, but that's the only people, the best available that are available. But the Shador and the Dion thing is, that's college. Dion can control everybody, all those kids in college. These are grown men in the NFL, and he brings him and his son come to a team. You better believe those grown men in that locker room are going to have an issue when games go bad and somebody's saying something bad about Shador and something happens in the locker room. Dion's not just going to stand by. Maybe at first he'll probably do it to try to make it seem like he's not trying to be favorite to his son, but he's not going to take a lot of it. And before you know it, you're going to wreck the locker room, because they're going to think you're favoring your son and you're not putting the blame where it belongs. And now you got grown men that you're coaching, not young kids, grown men who are not gonna appease to it, and then you got a problem. So let them go in separate areas. But I
would take Dion without him. I mean, I got no problem with Dion.
But I could see Dion staying at Colorado one more year.
He drafted this kid, the number 2 quarterback. So I don't think Dion's going anywhere anytime soon. Look at what he's making too. And I see Romo as a head coach. Go look at what Romo makes at CBS for calling a game a week.
Oh yeah.
He ain't coming to coaching, my friend.
Golfing. And his golfing.
He's not. And his golfing. He make about 4 times what he's making, as an analyst, than he would a head coach, and deal with this BS and deal with the players and deal with everything else. There is no way that he would want to do that. I mean, he's got a family life he can keep and everything else.
Golfing career.
Yeah, he can play golf when he wants. There's no way in hell that he's going to come in here and do that. But I have no issues with Dion being a head coach. I think he'd get rid of a lot of people. I think he would probably kill our cap, because Dion's level is up here of expectation, and he'd be cutting players on a whim. And that'd be some cap hell that we'd get put into, because it's not that easy. It's not the college where you can just get rid of guys. And when you get rid of a guy in college, they lose their scholarship.
Yeah,
you're not required to get. I mean, that's a year-to-year plan for college players. It's definitely different. I think Dion is perfect in college. He can mold young men. He can influence them. He can impact their lives in a positive way. I don't think he sees the NFL as that kind of spot. Now, maybe in a few years, maybe he wants to
2 more years,
have that. I don't know, Phil. I don't know.
But Steve said, don't forget, you can get multiple first-round picks for trading Dak after you remove. But let's see, Steve.
I don't know if you could.
Even if you did get multiple first-round picks, these guys aren't proven yet. And we don't need to get rid of experience like Dak just to get first-round picks, and they're not even proven, and they're not going to instantly come in and take over. Just let's build where we need. Build where we do some good drafting. We just need the GM to go on a vacation for a year. We need him to. I'm gonna say this until my hair fall out. We need a GM in there that's football minded, that knows how to go and get players during free agency. I'm watching these teams. I know you guys are watching them every year. They're going and getting these players. Look, DeAndre Hopkins. The Chiefs went and got DeAndre Hopkins during the season. Look what he's doing for Kansas City. This is the norm. This is the norm. Philly's done it. Chiefs they're doing it every year. We're the only team not doing it. And we're the only team that has an owner who wears all the hats. The formula is right there. We're just not using it. So blaming Dak, blaming McCarthy, none of that's going to work. Getting rid of them. Y'all think that, get rid of McCarthy, things have changed. Get rid of Dak. No, it's Jerry.
You got to change the culture. You got to change the culture, because it's been, Dak and Romo have had exact careers. It's exact careers. And that's what I say is they've got to get a headstrong coach. They got to allow a coach to have some of the authority. Because like I said, you got players that are late to meetings, don't show up to meetings, do all this and that, and the coaches can't do anything about it. That's just the reality of it. And you just basically now what do players look at that? How do other players see that? And that's the bigger problem with everything. It's just it needs to be, it's a poison within the organization that you just got to get out. And the only way to do it is you need to have Jerry needs to hit rock bottom. He'll make a big, bold move, with a coach and kind of let go some of his guard, so to speak. And they have to make some changes within the locker room to change the culture. I don't know if that'll happen. I always go back and I say, I'm just thankful that in my lifetime, I was able to see 3 and enjoy 3 Super Bowls. So, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen again, it's been more than Washington fans in my era have seen. It's been more than the Giants fans in my era, or at least tied with the Giants fans if you want to throw in that 91. So I guess that would be 3. So at least we're even. Philly's got 1, so at least I've been able to enjoy 3 of them.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Hey, I don't know if I'll get another one, but that's what I got to look back to and say at least that was.
And I've been able to enjoy every Super Bowl they played in, every win and lose, and by watching all of them was just it's just a spectacular. You just don't know what that means to be able to live through that era and be lucky enough to see them develop and then play their first Super Bowl and then lose that one by 3 points, and then win this one, and then win this one, and then lose this one, and lose this one, then win this one, win this one. I've seen all that, and I just enjoy it. And man, it's been, I got this adage I use a lot. I used to use it in the military a lot. I used to tell people, quit blaming the firemen for not putting out the fire. Now I'm talking about the firemen being Dak, being McCarthy, being the players. Quit blaming the firemen for not putting out the fire in that forest. Go find who lit the damn match. Jerry is the one that lit the match. But everybody wants to blame the firemen for not putting out the fire in the forest fast enough. Well, damn it. If you don't like the match, you don't have that fire. If Jerry does his job, we don't sit here and listen to people talking about get rid of Dak, get rid of McCarthy, or the Dallas is this, Dallas ain't going to be that. Go back to the root of the cause. You have to fix the root of the cause, and then things will flourish. We all know if we put all this pressure, continue to put this pressure on Jerry Jones, this is the first year in my existence of Jerry being owner of this team that the flack has come to his front door so relevant and bullseye, not that half went over here, half, no, it's all been tunneled right at his front door because the whole world has finally decided we know exactly what ground zero is. Now let's aim it all at Jerry Jones. He's never caught this much flack as an owner to this degree in the spotlight than he has this year. And all that needs to be directed to him from the fandom to wherever. That doesn't mean it's going to change the price of tea in China in his house. But if you do direct it to him, there's a possibility. And possibilities don't happen if you just dream of it. But if you act on it, it might happen. It might make him make a change. So the Dak getting rid of, paying him too much, McCarthy this, that, it's not relevant, folks. Yeah, everybody has a piece in the pie because they're human, but it's not more relevant than the person who can set the table for these guys, and he's not doing it. Watch what other teams do and then compare that.
Yeah. No, and I was just looking. Purdy's out, which I heard he's out for against the game against Green Bay. So we'll see what happens with that.
My hamstring.
But I mean, all these teams go through it. All these teams go through injuries. There's no one going to feel bad. No one's going to feel bad.
That's not for us.
Anybody. And you just hope the team. You just hope the team will get there and get it right and get the future right. And yeah, we talked, Bobby, I talked about it earlier. I got no problem moving on from Dak. I said there's other teams to do it. If they got an opportunity to draft a quarterback in the top 5 pick, I would get him and let him sit back there. And basically Dak would have 2 years, prove it or move on. He'll be 34 at that point. Then you got a younger guy in there. So it is what it is. Like I said, I'm a fan of the team. I'm not a fan of an individual player. No individual players over the star, in my opinion. So,
and I've never been a fan of Jerry Jones, and never will.
No, I like him as like the thing is like I like him as an owner. Like I do like him as an owner. I think he's back in that. Now he's got a little crazy now. I think he's maybe age is getting the best of him. But I always thought he was a little funny, and I think I always felt he did want to win and all that kind of stuff. But this year has just been really different. He deserves all the heat he's getting. Yeah. I defended him years ago. I don't really defend him much anymore just because of some of the decisions just didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was like dragging out the Dak contract. Don't sign him then. Let him play out the last year, but just don't use that as an excuse because you're not getting free agents. Oh, we got to sign Dak. Then sign him earlier like like they ended up signing him later and they freed up $20-something million. So, don't play me for a fool. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I have a problem with it. I'm not stupid.
And I still don't
money and no business. So I know what you're doing. And, and you don't play the fan base. We got a smart fan base. So that's where I have the problem with Jerry and, then the all in shit and all of that kind of stuff is just, it's just, anyway, it is.
And and Jerry, because he seemed shocked and surprised when people were asking him initially, why didn't he hire Derrick Henry? And his look was almost like, who? Like he didn't even consider the man on the radar.
Oh, I don't believe that.
I do. I feel he didn't even consider him on the radar. And then all of a sudden, when he realizes he could have been talking to him, we could have got him. No, let me make up an excuse why we didn't go that route. Because, oh, no, I don't want to act like I wasn't smart enough to see he was out there and I just didn't do nothing about it. Because there is no legitimate reason why he didn't. And even if he didn't sign Dak, because remember at the beginning of the season, we were talking about, and I said, I think he'll wait till like the 8th game of the season to sign Dak, because I don't think Jerry's going to sign him right away. I think he's going to wait till the end of the season. Even if he didn't sign Dak, I don't think he would have went out there and paid for Derrick Henry. I still think he would overlook Derrick Henry because his moves are not consistently positive. They're not. Yeah. His best move to me in the history of Jerry Jones being a Dallas Cowboy owner was hiring Jimmy Johnson. His worst move in the history of Jerry Jones being a Dallas Cowboy owner was firing Jimmy Johnson for no reason. And it took him 25 years to apologize for it. So ever since then, the draft has been the best. And I don't know if Steven has something to do with it. Some of those people that sit at that round table with him, if they have something to do with it, drafts have been good.
I mean, Will McClay has influence on the draft. I mean,
okay, well, then that's good. Then we know in drafts we do well, but then during the year, what are we doing with those Will McClays and everybody else in influencing Jerry to go out and get plug and plays? And I don't know. And even if they are, Jerry don't give a damn. Hell, Jerry's going to do what he wants to do anyway.
Let's look at breaking news before we wrap it up of all the inactives. So Kalen Carson's out. So now you're going to have Bland and everybody else. Deuce is out, which no surprise. Tyrus Wheat's out. Diggs is out. Zach Martin's out. Tyler Smith's out. Jake Ferguson with the concussion, figured he wasn't going to play. So they're losing, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters, 4 starters on offense they're going to be without. So 42. Just another gut punch for the Cowboys. And, they're going in undermanned, and they're going to play a Commanders team that definitely wants to, they're going to want to put it on them. And it's like, they had said before, as bad as the Cowboys are, they are still the other team's Super Bowl. The other team still, the fan base, primarily the fan base is probably more than the players, but they love to put it on the Cowboys because they know they're going to get headline news. As bad as Dallas always, is this year, they're still the leading story on ESPN. They're still on First Take. They're still on, the Fox, whatever. They're still on NFL Network. They're still the first ones every time. Yeah, CD's active. So anyway, they're still those guys. So I mean, they're going to want to put it on the Washington fan base, which has had zero success against the Cowboys for a long time. They are going to be dancing in the streets if they win.
They're already doing it this morning, Mike. They're doing it this morning. They out there line dancing right now. They're line dancing right now because they know. As far as they know they got to win because you know how much built up anger and anticipation they've had over the last 20-some years. Oh, and then it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys that get the opportunity to beat at home today. This Sunday is going to be like a holiday for those folks, man. I'm looking at 45-12, and Aubrey scores those 12. And I saw somebody on here try to compare every time y'all come up and say it's 29 years since Dallas won 20. Listen, don't try to compare Dallas Cowboys history with me, with your team, unless you are 49ers, unless you the New England Patriots, or you the Pittsburgh Steelers. Other than that, don't try to compare history because you'll lose in that one every time. Yeah. Every time you'll lose. But they're partying right now. They've been barbecuing.
And you know what's crazy? It's like, I don't really get jacked up beating the Giants. I don't get jacked up beating the Commanders, Washington, whatever. Honestly, I don't really get jacked up beating the Eagles that much. I don't. It's they're like, I get more excited if they beat the Steelers, if they beat the Packers, if they I consider, like, historically with the Cowboys, I consider like the Steelers as their ultimate rival. I don't know why, because of the Super Bowl, games against each other, and just the iconic, the iconic look of the Steelers helmet. I mean, to me, that's it. And the Packers, it's been funny. Like, the Packers owned the Cowboys, in the 60s, right? And then you had the 90s, the Cowboys owned the Packers, and then in the in the 2010, that era, then the Packers kind of flipped it with Rodgers, and now the Packers own the Cowboys those years and all of that. That, to me, I don't know, maybe it's because you don't play them as much as you play your divisional rivals. I don't know if you feel that way, but it's like, I get more jacked up when the Cowboys win against those teams than our rival, than our division.
We played the Steelers 3 times in the Super Bowl, and and back when we first started, we were creme de la creme of the NFC. They were creme de la creme of the AFC, and they had been for decades. And anytime those two teams met, it was like, oh my goodness, the sun and the moon about to collide. I mean, and that's how it's been. And we played them 3 times Super Bowl, and all 3 Super Bowls were great Super Bowls. So it's always been that way. The flipping with the Green Bay and them, they made it to the NFC Championship every now and then, but they were never like creme de la creme of the era, like our era was from the beginning, coming up through the Starbucks and the Bradshaws, and then 49ers. Well, we used to dog the 49ers, and then all of a sudden they get the heads up on it. Okay, those come and go. But the Pittsburgh legacy and Dallas legacy always stay. Every time they talk about it, I don't care where the teams are, good season, bad season, it's always that aura of Pittsburgh, Dallas, because of where we started together and how we were so magnificent together and how we dominated the world in football, and then played each other 3 times in the Super Bowl. So it's going to always be that way, no matter when we play them, above other teams that we play. So I don't know any other rival in the AFC that we play every year that makes that aura come back out like that. And I don't.
Yeah. I'm still amazed that the Cowboys beat the Steelers this year.
Yeah, I'm glad they did because I was there, and I'm glad they did while I was there. Because I would have hated after walking around that stadium talking smack to everybody. I would have hated if we lost.
I look back at that. I'm like, Jesus, how the hell did they beat the Steelers?
Well, good thing Fields was out there. Fields made some real bad decisions. And
Dallas played their best game. I mean, they played their best game, and that's what I mean. They played their best game at the right time,
considering what we had. Considering what we had, and it took 4 downs in the end zone to get that last one.
Yeah.
Woo, you don't know what kind of relief I had on me.
No, going to those games. But I've been to Pittsburgh. I went one year. It was at Romo T.O. That game where we're winning and then we blew it, but one of those typical Romo games. But it was I just love, I don't know if it's the helmets, the 2 iconic helmets mean something, but it's just always a good rivalry. So it'll be fun. I wish Washington had the old Redskin. I wish they were the Redskins. I wish that they had that. I think it lost something when they changed their name. I don't know why.
And then we used to play them on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving
was a lot.
But knowing, and remember, watch Pat Summerall, Washington Redskins and Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. And then Madden, years later, enhanced it by, we're going to bring out the turducken. We're going to get the turducken. Man, it was something. And then, Nelly and I went to, when Amari Cooper was playing with us, we went to Thanksgiving. I think we went to 2 Thanksgiving Day games in Arlington to watch the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, because they put on a hell of a halftime show. Thanksgiving was just Thanksgiving, and it was the aura of playing the skins, and man, it's something. And then my brother being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, growing up with him and going through it, that also enhances for me that type of rivalry we have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that would definitely play a part. My brothers are, Broncos and Dolphin fans, so we don't really have much rivalry with them. The one thing I hate with the Broncos, I'm going to try and go to the Bronco game this year. It's in Denver. Kelly's girlfriend is a Broncos fan, and I've got some family and friends out in Denver. I don't know why we can't beat the Broncos. It's like, I don't think we've beat them. I think the last time the Cowboys beat the Broncos was like 92.
Before Peyton.
Yeah, no, it's 92. I'm talking like Aikman year.
Yeah.
That's how far back. We cannot beat the freaking Broncos. I remember taking my nephew. We played the Broncos, two years ago, maybe, whatever. Or no, it had to have been 4 years ago, because we're playing them now 3 years ago. This will be the 4th year. And the Broncos were terrible. And we played them, and they absolutely beat the dog shit out of us.
In Dallas, too, wasn't it?
Dallas. Yeah, It was the worst. Oh, my God, it was the worst. And my nephew, he knows better. He at least sits there, and he didn't really say a whole lot to me, because I was mostly in shock. I was like in a state of shock. I was like, what the hell just happened? But certain teams, you don't play them often, but certain teams just seem to have your number. And the Broncos are that one team. It's like the Buccaneers to the Eagles. Like the Buccaneers beat the shit out of the Eagles every single time they play them. They did it in the playoffs. They did it this year. They did it. And it's like, and even like before that, I remember going to a Buccaneer Eagles game, and the Eagles were the better team, and the Buccaneers still beat the hell out of them. It's just like, there's certain teams that constantly, they just have your number, and you don't play them often, but whenever you do, you just can't seem to beat them. I remember the Buccaneers ended the Eagles season in the playoffs when Rondé Barber with his pick 6, and he took it to the house. How embarrassing. I mean, how embarrassing.
I remember that. Yeah.
To have that happen. Terrible.
Now imagine our team in the situation we're in right now. Mentally, physically, emotionally, ownership.
Yeah.
And we're going to Denver when it's cold.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
That would be the only time I want, like, when that schedule comes out,
my goodness.
in like November, to say, forget it. I'm going to tell my wife, we're not doing that road trip.
Yeah,
I want to go to the Raiders next year, because we play at Denver, we play at the Raiders, and we have Kansas City at home. And a lot of people wanted to do the our tailgate for the Chiefs game, but we were thinking about this next year when we do our tailgate, not going in the game, just kind of hanging out at the tailgate the whole time. But I've never seen Mahomes, and I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to see Mahomes because how often can you really do it? You know, we only play each other every 8 years at home, so this is probably like the last opportunity to see Mahomes in Dallas. So I'm going to I won't do the tailgate on that game. That's for sure.
I don't know when they playing, but I'll probably be that's probably right around the time when we'll be in the Mediterranean for 14 days. So I'll just have to catch the news. However I get it, won't be able to see the game, go to the games then. But I tell you, man, I would love to go to that Kansas City game. Ooh, that would be a great game. Yeah. But then I got to see what we do in the off season. I got to see what we do in the off season first before I even consider that.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think the message is being sent by the fans, and I think it'll work itself out. So, all right, we're about an hour away from kickoff. We are going to head out of here so I can get ready. I am going to be watching the game, and I'm just enjoying a beautiful Florida afternoon. The weather is great. I washed my wife and I have this old 76 Triumph. I washed it up, fixed the seats a little bit, kind of tinkered with it Saturday. We are going for our Sunday drive after the game and hit our little downtown and enjoy ourselves. So I'm going to have a great Sunday, Greg. I hope you have a great Sunday. I hope all of you guys have a great Sunday. I hope all of your teams win except for the Eagles because I just don't like them. I don't like their fans. I don't like them. I don't like nothing about them. Their fans just are D-riders of the Cowboys. So I wish them nothing but failure. But everyone else, I hope your team wins. Have a great time, Greg. Enjoy it. Our Canes are going up to Syracuse next week. Are you in town for that? Are you in town
for the Syracuse game?
Yeah,
for the Syracuse game.
Well, did you want to? You got Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Well, we got family coming in tonight. They're going to be with us here Thanksgiving throughout. But yeah, I'll still be available. You
want to do a show Thanksgiving morning before the game? Like
that'll work with me. That'll work with me. And everybody out there in Cowboys world, Mike lives in Middle Florida. I live in the Panhandle of Florida. Mike's a Canes fan. I'm a Canes fan. Mike's a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Trifecta, baby. Trifecta.
That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And I'll say this too for everyone again. For my daughter is in New York. She is going to be at the Macy's Day Parade. And it is, I'll get you guys the name. She's going to be cheering and dancing in the parade. It's Star something. She'll have a white uniform on with a star on it, but I'll get you guys a name. If you watch NBC, they're supposed to be showing the full routine there. Spirit of America. Thank you, my wife.
Spirit of America.
Spirit of America. So if you guys are watching Spirit of America, you'll see a pretty young lady. People say she resembles me a little bit, hopefully in all the good ways. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. My wife's going up there to hang with her. So I'm going to be chilling at home. Me and my son are chilling at home, and we'll be watching, but we'll have a lot of time to do content. So Greg and I will be there Thursday morning. We'll do a little pregame Thanksgiving. Maybe Greg could share some of any secrets, any Thanksgiving Day secrets and food and all that stuff to make you guys hungry. And then we'll eat. And then we got DeVito and Rush, so you'll be able to sleep as once the game gets started. So anyway, you guys have a good one. Greg, enjoy your Sunday. Have a great time with the family, and we'll be talking to you. And Greg, I don't know, are you available Monday for a show?
Monday.
Or no? If not, it's okay.
Tomorrow.
I'm
not sure. I got to see what everybody's doing.
Text me. If not, okay. I can do later Monday. I usually do 7. Jimmy is out of town, so
probably later Monday would be. It
better. Would be like maybe 8 o'clock your time.
That would be better.
If it is, just text me. If not, I can run. I'll go solo. We'll figure it out. So I appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving. If we don't talk to you, enjoy the football Sunday. And let me find our outro. I'm getting rusty here, but here we go. I'll see you.
DC for life.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.